Welcome everyone to my talk, Practical Aspects for Your Journey to AI, which I made with Kirsten Merz. Just to mention the affiliations, I'm not only working at the Cantonal Hospital of Basel, I'm also working at the University Hospital, so it's a shared project. Okay, now I can move on. No, I can move on. So first of all, I would like to start with the reason why we decided to go digital. And for this, I would like to show the balance between our workforce on the left side and the workload on the right side. And for us, it's actually vital for pathology to go digital. As you can see here, the current demographic situation for pathologists in Switzerland, this is the data from the FMH, and we draw here a 35-year-old line, which means that all the pathologists that are above this lines most likely will retire in the next 20 years. And the same data is also shown here in the pie chart. And if these pathologists will retire, this will mean that 75% of our specialists won't be available anymore. On the other side, that means that the remaining 25% that are younger have to deal with the workload. On the right side, you can see the workload. This was a survey that we from Canton Hospital Basel-Land did last year in Switzerland, and we received data from 16 institutes. And as a baseline year, we took 2018, so this will be 100% of the workload. And then it's divided according to the different subjects. So you can see here, this is molecular pathology, cytology, surgical pathology, and autopsy. Autopsy was so less that it's not visible. And we saw from 2018 to 2019, within 1 year, an increase in workload of 22%. And from 2019 to 2020, it was almost stable, but only because our surgeries went down, and you can see that this will increase or we expect that it will increase in the future as well. So we have, to sum it up, a rising workload and a shrinking workforce. And to manage this disbalance, we believe that AI will be the solution, since AI will increase the productivity of our workforce. So implementation of AI looks pretty easy on the surface. So if you acquire the scanners and make a contract with an AI vendor, you're good to go. But actually the implementation, I called it hell of implementation, because it's a lot of effort, a lot of pain, a lot of work that you have to done underneath. You have to, when you buy the scanner, you need to implement it in the list. You need a digital archive. You need to reorganize your lab workflow. You need digital workstations. Then depending on which direction you go, either on-premise or cloud, you need a secure file transfer. You need to accomplish data privacy and security measures. And then last step, the implementation of AI. You need a slide level diagnosis to validate and calibrate your AI, and also set up the entire pipeline. And I would like to take you with us through the last 6 years. So our digital journey started in 2016 when we purchased the first scanners, and we moved with the first selected use cases from analog to digital, and implemented digital workstations to evaluate these cases. Then in 2020, we decided that our future will be in the cloud. So we accomplished the data privacy and security measures. We set up a secure file transfer and enabled image access and export to the cloud. And as you can imagine, so the first 2 steps, they are really like only investments and you have no return on it. Then stage 3 for us is the first application of AI. So we want with IBEX an automatic segmentation of our prostate biopsies. So IBEX will highlight for our specialists Gleason cancer in prostate cancer and Gleason grading in the prostate biopsies. And this is where we expect the first return on invest in terms of that our specialists become faster in evaluating prostate biopsies. And then later on, also a project that we worked on together was a report engine. And fortunately, IBEX allows to export the AI results in a JSON file. And we created a report engine that can read this JSON file and then put out a structured report. And with this, we expect a real return on investments, because with this AI, we want to improve the reviewing time of our specialists. And then also with these pre-filled reports, we want to increase or to cut down the reporting time of our specialists. Then the first practical aspect for your journey. Don't expect your IT department to be happy when you decide to go digital. They are already challenged with the rising number of IT systems. Also, your diagnostic department won't be much happy because they are already challenged with the rising amount of diagnostic exams. And the first thing that we had to build up was a change team that takes over the responsibilities and streamlined the implementation process of new systems. So this AI won't be just the first step, and we need to expect that further application of AI in the future for further use cases will happen. Then the next practical aspect that you have to think of is the decision if you would like to stay on premise. This is here on the left side, which means you have a server in-house, or you go to the cloud. And then some key considerations that you should take care of is, first of all, the costs. So as a reference, I took here a Tesla A100 server. And the costs are about 140K for the server that you have to do before implementing the AI. And then also it needs to be maintained because it's fully run on your side. And in Switzerland, we calculate with 20% FTE. And if this person is like salary of 100K, it will be 20K a year just for the maintenance. The good part is that you have less dependencies, so there's no further increase in costs to be expected. On the contrast, in the cloud, the same infrastructure would cost something like 16,000 a year. But this means, like, if I use this 100%, so this unit will be rented by the AI vendor, and he can further split this cost to your amount. So if you just have, I don't know, 200, 300 prostate biopsies, you don't have to pay that amount. The downside here is that it's really provider dependent. If Google or Amazon increases the cost of their cloud, then of course you have to pay more. Then responsibilities. If you have your own machine, you need to take care of capacity planning, configuration, maintenance, all that stuff. Compared to the cloud, here you just need to take care of your software. Just a comparison for the non-IT guys, this is like, imagine you would like to make a diagnosis, and in this setup you would need to take care of making the report, making the billing, patient scheduling, and all that stuff. And here you just make the diagnosis, and you don't have to take care of anything else. So billing and stuff is all done by the provider. Flexibility, this is tied to the server. Most likely, the server won't be used 100% in the beginning, and later on, it's like if your workload increases, so you have more AI applications that run on more use cases, then you are really tied to the capability of the server compared to the cloud. You have elastic computing, so normally you have like containerized applications, which means if there's a higher demand, then these containers spin up, and it doesn't matter if you have to evaluate 10 or 100 cases in an hour. Security, of course, on-premise, when you have it inside your hospital, you have just a small surface that hacker could attack. But at the same time, you have only an IT department that works from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to act in an emergency. On the other side, you have the cloud that has a large surface, of course, but they have 24/7 operational teams worldwide to protect it. If you decide to go to the cloud as we did, you have to accomplish with data protection and security regulations. Since most of the attending people here are in the EU, you need to consult, or you need to take care of the GDPR Article 4, dealing with sensitive data. And there's 5 key points that you have to take care of. First is the encryption, which is done by the cloud provider, and most cloud provider are GDPR compliant. Then there's the authentication, authorization, and accounting control. This is mainly done by the AI vendor. And then the responsibilities that you as a diagnostic department has is the file transfer. You need to ensure that you have a secure transfer of your data to the cloud and back. Pseudonymization, best case is that you send the data in the cloud and it's a pseudonym. So even if hacker would get that data, it's useless for them. And then you need to do a data protection impact assessment. So this is something that we needed to do here for our local data protection officer in the canton. And lessons learned from our journey. So the main problems that we had in our digital transformation was that because we were early adopters, we choose the slide scanner that was available at that time. And unfortunately, this was a really protective vendor. So the slides were scanned in a proprietary format, and the archive was not open. Yeah, but still, it's like now there are vendors that are more open, and this will save you a lot of effort when you want to access your data. Then regarding the list, one big trouble that we experienced was so the AI makes a slide level diagnosis, and unfortunately the slide ID that our barcode was not the same that the slide ID was in the list, and this resulted in a lot of confusion. So in the beginning we were not able to assign the slide level diagnosis from IBEX or from the AI to actually our slide level in the list. And then in the beginning, we also did not have the responsibilities, and now we have like a full change team that takes care of each part in the digital transformation. And with this, I thank you for your attention. And now I would be open for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maurice, for this nice insight into what happens in Basel and how you are approaching the challenges that are upcoming when going digital. We are already at the end of the session, so we would move on with answering the questions, the remaining questions in the chat.